Imagine standing on the banks of the Tiber River nearly 3,000 years ago, when Rome was nothing more than a small cluster of huts surrounded by wild forests and rival tribes. It is hard to believe that this humble settlement would one day grow into the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. But before the Republic, before Julius Caesar, and long before the emperors ruled from marble palaces, Rome was shaped by a forgotten era, the Age of Kings. For over 2 centuries, Rome was ruled by 7 legendary kings, each one leaving behind a powerful mark on the city as destiny. Some were warriors who expanded Rome through battle, others were builders who created roads, temples, and walls, and some were reformers who organized Roman society and law. Together, these rulers transformed Rome from a fragile village into a rising city-state filled with ambition, strength, and purpose. In this video, we will journey back to the regal period, uncover the stories of the 7 kings of Rome, and discover how their leadership laid the foundation for one of history's greatest civilizations. Let's begin where Rome's power first started, with its kings. Romulus is remembered as the legendary founder of Rome and the first king who turned a small settlement into a real city. According to ancient tradition, Romulus and his twin brother Remus were raised by a she-wolf after being abandoned as infants. When they grew older, they decided to build a city near the Tiber River. However, a dispute between the brothers ended in tragedy, and Romulus became the sole ruler of the new city, naming it Rome after himself. As king, Romulus established many of Rome's earliest institutions. He organized the first Roman army, created the Senate to advise him, and welcomed outsiders to strengthen the population. His rule was marked by ambition, expansion, and the desire to make Rome powerful among neighboring tribes. Romulus set the foundation for Roman identity, combining leadership, military strength, and a vision of greatness. Even though much of his story is wrapped in legend, Romans believed Romulus gave their city its first sense of purpose and destiny, beginning Rome's long rise toward greatness. Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, was very different from Romulus. While Romulus was a warrior king, Numa was known as a peaceful and religious leader. He believed that Rome needed stability, laws, and spiritual unity more than constant war. During his reign, Numa established many of Rome's religious traditions that lasted for centuries. He created priesthoods, introduced sacred rituals, and built temples to honor the gods. Numa also reformed the Roman calendar, adding months and organizing time in a way that helped Roman society function more smoothly. His leadership brought a period of peace and order, allowing Rome to grow internally rather than through conquest. Romans respected Numa as a wise ruler who strengthened the city's moral and religious foundation. Under his guidance, Rome became more than just a military settlement. It became a community bound together by shared beliefs, traditions, and sacred laws. Numa's reign showed that Rome's rise was not only built on battle, but also on religion, discipline, and unity. Tullus Hostilius, the third king of Rome, brought Rome back to the path of war and conquest. Unlike the peaceful Numa, Tullus believed Rome's greatness depended on military expansion and strength. His reign was marked by aggressive campaigns against neighboring Latin cities. One of the most famous events of his rule was the conflict with Alba Longa, a rival city with deep cultural ties to Rome. According to legend, the war was decided through a dramatic battle between 2 sets of triplet warriors, showing how Rome valued courage and honor. Eventually, Alba Longa was destroyed, and its people were brought into Rome, increasing the city's population and power. Tullus also strengthened Rome politically by building the Senate House, giving Roman leaders a place to gather and govern. His reign helped Rome dominate the region of Latium and proved that Rome could defeat its rivals through force. Tullus Hostilius represented Rome's warrior spirit and ambition, pushing the city beyond survival toward true regional power, setting the stage for further expansion in the centuries to come. Ancus Marcius, the 4th king of Rome, is remembered as a ruler who balanced both war and peace. He followed the path of Numa in respecting religion, but also understood the need for military strength like Tullus. Ancus fought against neighboring tribes when necessary, expanding Rome's territory and influence. However, his greatest achievements were in building and development. Ancus is credited with founding Ostia, Rome's first port city at the mouth of the Tiber River. This was a major step forward, as it allowed Rome to grow economically through trade and access to the sea. He also built bridges, roads, and defensive structures that strengthened the city. Ancus brought new settlers into Rome, helping it become larger and more diverse. His reign showed that Rome's rise depended not only on conquest, but also on infrastructure, commerce, and smart leadership. By combining religious tradition, military action, and economic expansion, Ancus Marcius helped transform Rome into a more organized and prosperous city-state. Tarquin the Elder, the 5th king of Rome, marked a turning point in Roman history because he was of Etruscan origin, bringing new cultural influences into the city. His reign is remembered for major construction projects that changed Rome's appearance forever. Tarquin began building monumental architecture, moving Rome from a simple town toward a true urban center. He started the construction of the Circus Maximus, a massive arena for chariot races and public games, which became a symbol of Roman entertainment. He also also initiated the Cloaca Maxima, an enormous drainage system that helped control flooding and improved sanitation. Tarquin expanded Rome's power through military victories and strengthened the role of the king. Under his rule, Rome became richer, more organized, and more impressive in size and structure. His leadership showed the importance of engineering, city planning, and public works in Rome's rise. Tarquin the Elder helped lay the physical foundations of the future capital of an empire, proving Rome was becoming more than just a regional city. Servius Tullius, the sixth king of Rome, is often remembered as one of the greatest reformers of the monarchy. Unlike earlier kings who focused mainly on war or religion, Servius transformed Rome through political and social organization. He introduced the first census, dividing Roman citizens into classes based on wealth. This system determined military duties and voting power, shaping Roman society for centuries. Servius also expanded the city's boundaries and is credited with building the Servian Wall, an important defensive structure protecting Rome from invasion. His reforms gave more structure to Roman government and increased the participation of ordinary citizens in public life. Servius worked to strengthen Rome internally, making it more stable and united. His reign showed that Rome's rise depended not only on kings and nobles, but also on creating systems that could govern a growing population. Servius Tullius helped Rome evolve into a more complex and organized state, laying groundwork that would later influence the Roman Republic itself. Tarquin the Proud, the seventh and final king of Rome, is remembered not for greatness, but for tyranny. His reign represented the dark side of monarchy as he ruled with cruelty, fear, and arrogance. Tarquin ignored the Senate, executed rivals, and held power without respect for Roman traditions. While he continued building projects, his harsh rule made him deeply unpopular. The event that ultimately ended his reign was the tragic story of Lucretia, a noblewoman whose dishonor by Tarquin's son sparked outrage across Rome. The Roman people could no longer tolerate the abuse of royal power. Led by figures like Brutus, they rose in rebellion and expelled Tarquin from the city. This moment became one of the most important turning points in Roman history. The fall of Tarquin the Proud ended the monarchy forever and opened the door for a new system of government, the Roman Republic. His downfall taught Romans to fear kingship and value liberty above tyranny. The story of the seven kings of Rome is more than legend. It is the foundation of Rome's rise to greatness. Each king contributed something vital. Romulus gave Rome its birth. Numa shaped its religion. Tullus expanded its strength. Ancus developed its economy. Tarquin the Elder built its monuments. Servius reformed its society. And Tarquin the Proud, as tyranny led to the birth of freedom. Together, these rulers transformed a small settlement into a powerful city-state prepared for the future. Their era laid the groundwork for Rome's institutions, military traditions, laws, and identity. When the monarchy fell in 9 BC, Rome did not collapse. Instead, it evolved. The republic that followed would carry forward the lessons, structures, and ambitions created by these kings. Rome's journey from village to empire began here, in the Age of Kings, where power, ambition, reform, and rebellion shaped the destiny of one of history's greatest civilizations. And this was only the beginning of Rome's incredible story. As we reach the end of this journey, it becomes clear that Rome's greatness did not appear overnight. The Roman Empire, with its vast armies, mighty emperors, and legendary achievements, was built on foundations laid centuries earlier by the seven kings of Rome. Each king played a unique role in shaping the city's identity, from Romulus, who gave Rome its birth, to Numa, who gave it faith, from warrior kings who expanded its power to builders and reformers who strengthened its society. And finally, the fall of Tarquin the Proud proved that Rome would never accept tyranny forever. The end of the monarchy was not the end of Rome's story, but the beginning of something even greater, the Roman Republic. The lessons, traditions, and institutions formed during the regal period became the roots of Roman civilization for centuries to come. These kings may belong to an ancient world of legend and history, but their impact still echoes through time. Rome's rise truly began here, with seven rulers who transformed a small village into a city destined for greatness. And in the next chapter of Rome's story, a new era of republic, conquest, and empire is about to unfold.